Shall we start? I think that's everyone. Shall we start? 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's start. Okay, just first thing, how's the project going? The visualization. Has everyone started? Okay. It's okay. If you can't make it, then you can't make it. No pressure. Okay. But I think it's good to try and like make use of what you've learned. Okay. So today, by schedule, today is not supposed to be a lecture, but I think web scraping is very interesting, and I want you to learn about it. So today, first part will be about web scraping, and then I'll talk a little bit about NLP, which is natural language processing, and then finally, if we still got time, I'll go through some like real life exercise about scraping a laptop websites and get the price and start to make predictions. Okay. And I forgot to mention, there's also one very interesting exercise, which is getting the data from Twitter and try to analyze the Twitter data. So hopefully we will have time on it. Okay, so let's start with web scraping. So how do we get data from the internet? So before that, I think I'll share some of my experience. So before I start working in data, I thought every data would be like clean in table format, and every company should have like perfect data. But I don't know what's your case, but from what I've seen, every single company has very messy data. Okay, even the best data-driven company. So, well, I used to work in a jockey club, so like I can't go to my internal database to get data, but I have to like go to the official websites and try and scrape the data down. Okay, so if you're really working in a real life situation, web scraping is very important. Okay, and do you guys have any experience in web scraping? Okay. So no basic concept with what's web scraping, just a little bit. Anyone who've written a website before? No. Okay. All right. So okay, let's take it this way. So Google is actually the biggest scraper in the world. Okay, so what they do is they made a spider and crawl around the internet, and they try to structurize the internet. Okay, so every time we Google something, it's presented in a very nicely written structure. Okay, but how do Google like get all this information? Then you have to go to a website like a normal, let's say Yahoo. Okay, there's a lot of information here, right? But it looks very messy. And if we want to build a scraper, we have to find the structure of the website and try to make use of it. And if you know a little bit of JavaScript or HTML, every single website is built based on a structure like this. So if you click on like this little triangle and the little triangle, you can see every single box. Look at here. So every single box and every single piece of information is structured along a path that you can find. Okay. So let's say I want to get the topic, the header of this. Just click, right click, inspect, and you somehow find the path that leads you to this sentence. Okay. And the exact wording is right here. Okay, that's the first thing you should know. And secondly, like every website have a pretty standardized format. This means they build the framework and they fit in the data. Okay, let's say BBC. Okay, let's go to BBC. Okay, this is one of the news of today. If you click onto the next one, you can see it kind of follow the same structure with the title right here and the image right there, and you know the content is right below the image. That's because when they build the website, they ask like a web developer to build the skeleton of it, and then they fit in the data. And also, if you look at the URL, you see like there's usually a number right here. Okay, and if you go back to the previous one, it gives you a different number. So if I'm lucky and I try to play around this number, quite likely it will bring you to your next page. Okay, this is not found. But in some of the websites, if you keep on looping the URL, it keeps getting you to the next page. Okay, so if you think about it, we've learned loop, so we can loop through every single page. Okay, and then I'll teach you another technique that allows you to get the information based on the path. Okay. Okay, so every web page has the same skeleton. So if you key in the same path and you loop through the page, eventually you get everything. Okay, that's the whole idea of web scraping.
Yeah. Say I scrape the data of the process.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Would they block?
For sure they will. If you scrape it too often, then they will. So there are a lot of workaround on like blocking IP. One way is VPN. Okay, you can get a virtual IP address, and you keep on switching. That's number one. Number two, it's cloud server, like Google or Amazon have like a data center, and every computer has a different IP address. And if you switch it off and on again, it will be assigned a new IP address. So you can have like thousands of different servers rotating the IP and keep on going to the same websites.
How much is too much?
How much is too much?
For the
Well, every page has different standard. You have to test it. Okay,
let's say the Jockey Club.
The Jockey Club. I don't think they ever block you, Jockey Club. I think if you scrape like a few pages per second, that's fine. I think once you go to like 100 pages per second, then they will think there's something wrong. Yeah. So I'll talk about this later on. But okay. But in general, there are three types of collecting data from the internet. The first type is so-called the API. Hold on, make it smaller. Okay. The first type is called the API, which is a very clean format. So API is like a URL that you click in, and they just stream you the data feed in a very clean format. And the second thing is web scraper. So web scraper, it's the method I just mentioned, which is follow the skeleton of the websites and try to hard code and look through the URL. That's web scraper. And then the third one is the what Google does, which is called web crawler. So what a web crawler does is they start in a front page and they grab all the URL they can discover. So on every single page, they get every URL they can find, and you start with like a home page, but then it keep getting more and more URL, so it expands like a spider web. Okay, so it's also called a web spider. Okay, so what is an API? API is something that like an official website gave it to you. So they don't want you to scrape their websites, but instead they give you clean data, but you have to pay for it. That's the usual case. So Google has a lot of API. I have one example. So this is so-called the Google Place API. Okay, all you need to do is to register and get a key, and then you key in the latitude, longitude, and the radius, and then it will give you in a very clean format. So you can see there's like latitude, longitude, and then I think I search for food. Okay, I search for every food in the area, and Google API will just show you what's the restaurant around this area. Okay, I don't know. Should be a restaurant around here. Okay, so that's one of the example of API. If you go to Google Place API. Okay, you can just register and get the key, and you can get a lot of clean data. Okay. So that's number one. The next one is a web crawler. As I mentioned, it starts at like a home page, say the home page of BBC, and then you just grab every single link and keep on expanding the scope. Okay. For web crawler. Usually, I don't know what Google can do, but in my company, we limit the level of how many level we go. So we usually stop it at like 7 level, but we have like 50 server. Okay, so it's like a combination of 50 computer. So I really have no clue how Google is doing. Okay, and then you can set limit on like how much level you want the crawler to extract. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a bunch of data, and you're not going to have time to analyze all of them. Okay, what I will teach today is so-called the web scraper. So a web scraper operates this way. You go to your front page, you try to make sense of the URL structure, and then you make sense of the skeleton of it. And eventually you look through the entire site and get everything. Okay? And okay, so the difference between them is quite obvious, so I'm not gonna go deep into it. Okay, maybe just a little bit. A web crawler is like a pipeline, which only applies on one single website, and a web crawler is different, which apply to many different websites. Okay, so let's start with a website called Price Runner. This is a very easy website to scrape. Okay, so this is a price comparison website called Price Runner. And okay, if you click onto one of the links, it brings you to so-called a content page. And you can start to play around with the structure a bit. So if you change it to 5. Okay, it brings you to a different kind of device. And if you go level down, oops. Okay, let's go back up. Phone, mobile phone. Okay, this should work. Okay, now it works. So ignore the last one. Okay, ignore the last string. Try to play around with this number. Okay, it brings you to a different, like a different kind of product. So now you know if you look through this number to like, I don't know, 30, it should still get you something. Okay. Let's try again. Okay, yep. So if you change the number, it brings you to a different page. So our first strategy worked, which we can look through the URL and get everything. Okay. Secondly, let's say I want to get every single laptop brand or laptop title. If you click inspect, okay, you will see something h3 class equals to this thingy. Okay, but if you keep on going up a level, up a level, up a level, you can see everything is bounded by like a div class equals to this thingy. Okay, so if you go to the code, we need something called beautiful soup in request to work on such thing. So let's copy this URL. Okay, it brings you to the same page, and once you run it, it will go to visit this URL, and if you put our.content, it grabs everything which is in the source. Okay, if you compare this our.content with the source behind, you click right click and then view page source, you can see a lot of like, this is a real JavaScript or HTML behind it. Okay, so we grab everything from that website, but then because everything we've just seen is unstructured, so we have to give a structure for it. Okay, then we make use of a software called Beautiful Soup. Okay, now it looks much better. Okay, you can clearly see the HTML, the head, the meta title, etc. Okay, remember we sort of saw the class of it, which is okay, the class is product listing wrapper, product listing wrapper. Okay, let's just copy that list, and then let's say I put it here. You put soup dot find, and then what you're finding is a diff, and then you specify the class equals. Okay, it still gives you a big block of code, but then this thingy is limited to this. Okay, and if you go deeper, let's say you find let's say you find this class equals structure product. Soup dot find h3 class equals. Okay, they could have changed the website layout a little bit, so please bear with me for 1 second. Okay. Okay, let's okay, that's better. So if you do .text, you can successfully get everything, every laptop title from here. Okay. And let's say if we want to do something else, we don't want to do laptop, or we want to get a page 2 of it. Just grab it and then run through this again. Okay, it gives you Lenovo ThinkPad. Okay, and then let's try to go to the next page. Okay, Lenovo ThinkPad. Okay, so this algo successfully get what's in the next page. Okay, so imagine if I wrap everything up here into a loop. Okay, now I wrap everything, and then let's say I'm looping through the page number. Okay, and then you write a loop for I in range of, let's say I loop from 1 to 5. Okay, and then I create an empty list. And then I put all the tags inside this list. Okay, after I run it, I should be able to get everything in this website, at least these 5 pages. Okay, now that I've run it, then let's see the first one. See like Apple, MacBook, etc. Okay, we got 4 pages. Okay, so that's the basic idea of how to look through the pages and get everything from a website. Okay. Yes. Okay, it's because this is a list, and I'm getting the first item of the list. So if you do this, there's a square bracket in here. So if you put a find all, then it returns your list. That means everything that satisfy these conditions. Okay, if you don't put find all and just put find, it will give you a single item. Okay. Or maybe it's better to put L equals. Okay, if you spend some time to read through it line by line, you should be able to find the structure. So this is the this is the title of it. So if you put find all and then I for I in okay, if you put it this way, now it's to give you even better structure. Okay, and if you dig through the HTML and find it like a class that is shared by all of the title, you should be able to get an even better structure. So h3. Okay, let's try live it by h3. Okay, now I got every single title. Okay. So if you compare the, I think this should be page 4. I think that's the page. ASOS ROG streak. Okay, yeah. So I got every single title from this page. Okay. And so if I run this again, if I run this again, I should have a very clean data of all the laptop pages. Okay, something went wrong. So web scraping is a pretty try and error process, except so if you bound everything in a try catch, then it's gonna skip. Okay, it's all error for some reason. Okay. But I think I shouldn't spend too much time fixing the code. I should teach you how to get the information out of it. So does everyone understand roughly what's going on? Okay, just roughly. Okay, so okay, let's start with something easier. Let's say now I go to this page. All I care about is this big title, the laptops. Okay, and all I know right now is the URL. Okay, so now my task is very simple. I just need to go to the URL and get the laptop big title. Okay, so what should I do? First thing is to import this to library. Okay, this to library in request helps you to go to the internet and get the websites. Beautiful Soup helps you to analyze the skeleton of the websites. Okay. So the first thing is to use requests to get the websites. Okay, once I have this, if you put just run R individually, it gives you a response. If the response is 200, it means it works. Okay. And there are two ways to get the stuff out of this response. The first way is to use our.content. Sorry. Okay. One way is to use our.text. Second way should be our.content. Okay. So both way works very similarly. But then the content is very messy. So we have to put it, parse it into a better structure. So we use Beautiful Soup. Okay, if you put Beautiful Soup, and this LXML is just a format on parsing. Okay, it should be our.content. Okay, now we have something more structurized, and let's go back to the page. Okay, our goal is to get this laptop title. So what do I need to do? I right click, inspect, and then I find the path of it. So right now you see h1 class equals these numbers, but it's very likely that this guy is going to change quite often. So I think I'll go up a level and get breadcrumb wrapper. Okay. So now my attribute is div, and my class is breadcrumb wrapper. So I go to soup, and I do find div and class equals breadcrumb wrapper. Okay. So now I get a very small subset of my big messy data. And if you search for laptop, if you search for laptop, okay, it's not there. So if you do find all, so very likely that there are more than one breadcrumb wrapper. So you have to find everything, and you still can't find it. Hold on. Try.text. Okay. Okay, somehow I find this computer in front. Because okay, I'll make a mistake because the laptop is below the breadcrumb wrapper and they are in the same level. Okay. So actually the better way to find is the h1 and ignore the class. Okay, now we have the laptop. Okay. So is there anything else that you find it interesting on here that you want to find? The price? Okay. But let's say we want to find a price for every single one of them. Okay, if you make this a little bit bigger. Okay, you see this class? which is so messy that I think this won't repeat. So they make it this way to make it harder to scrape. Okay, so you go up a level, until you find something that bound the entire table, which is this. So it's div and then class equals this. Okay, now because we're on a very high level, so it just grabs everything. Okay, you can give it a name, say a table. Okay, but now we have a smaller subset of our noisy data, and then we can try to find out what's the price. Okay, it's not easy, but 1599. Okay, try 1599. Okay, can't find it, but let's go inspect again. Okay, this span is under. Okay, this price is under span. Okay, probably we can have some luck finding or searching for a span. Okay. Okay, sorry. Okay, we're here. So if you do find all span, okay, right there we can find the price. Okay, and then we can do for I in table. Okay, now we have a very repetitive structure for the price, and you can say whenever these pounds appear, for if pounds is in out here. Oops, sorry. Okay, that's how you get all the price. I'll send you the code afterwards. Okay. Yeah, they changed the website a little bit because I've been extensively scraping these websites. So I think they changed the website a little bit to make it harder to scrape. So any question for now?
Okay, so how do you find, let's say, the laptop, the first one is equal to 159?
Okay, yeah, that's a very good question actually.
Do you use that number to make?
Because okay, if you go to this level, you can see that they're operating by blocks. So it's better if you find every A. Okay, you can see everything of them start with A. Okay, so you can do like this. Okay, table dot find all. Okay, and for I in the table. Okay, let's say we go to this list first. This is a list. And for the first item of the A, you can see we have the specs in here, and we have the image links right here, and then we can see. Okay, I can't find. Okay, I find the price in here. Okay, and then ideally the title should be somewhere around here. So you can do dot text. Okay, you have the price in here, and you have the title right here. So if you look through this number, it shows you the structure. Okay, so I think you get the feeling of what web scraping is. So this is a super tedious process, but this is very nice, because once you've done one page, you can look through millions of pages. Okay, and okay, let's continue with the search for making this a structured table.
So what it does is it grabs one data for
Yeah, you can say it this way. It either find a list of data or just one data point per page.
means if I want to, thinking about putting things into table.
Yes.
So if I want to have one list of the file, for example, that contains and the other one will
All the price. Yeah.
So technically like two things.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. That's a very good way of thinking, because you are giving a structure, unstructured data, and the way to do it is to put it into pandas, which I'm trying to do. Yeah. But okay, let's say out of here you can find H3 is the title, and diff is all the specs, and you should have the price somewhere. Yeah, you have the price in span. Okay, so if you do find span, okay, this is very tedious. Okay, you can find the price in here. Sorry. And then you can find the title in here. Okay, and then for the span, I think you have to do it this way. So I.text. Okay, and then you have to put like if I.text, the pounds is in the I.text. Okay, finally. Okay, so now I have this two formula, which is the title equal this, and the price equal this. And then if you change this 0 to a number that you can loop, and then you put title and price in a list, let's see. Okay, and then for I in, okay, let's change this to I. Okay, let's give it another name, K. And then we change this to K. Okay, bear with me. Oops, sorry. X is not defined. Okay. Okay, now you have a nice table like this. Okay. And if you do pd.dataframe, okay, pandas is not defined. Import pandas as pd. Okay. Okay, now finally we have the title and the price. Okay, and then we can call it df. So we can put it here df. But remember, we can look through the page in here. Okay, so now that we have dig out the skeleton in one page, we can look through all the other page in this entire website. And let's imagine the scalability of this. I can look through the pages for every laptop, and if I change this number, I can get all the mobile phone and all the vacuum cleaner and all the microwave. So everything. And they are all in like a structured and nice table format. Okay, and that's very powerful. Okay. Any question for now? I'm sure you don't know what I'm doing right here. So let's do some practice. Okay. What's the what? Oh, you mean this? So okay, for every HTML, when the web developer develop the skeleton of it, it has two main things. So one is diff, which means how to differentiate the two attributes. Okay, and so if you go from the top, you can see you have head and body, and this is quite self-explanatory. So body is everything in the content, head is just the header, and then you have the diff. And if you see H1 or H2 or H3, it is always the header. Okay, H stands for header. And for span, it is usually like the description of something. Okay, it is usually in a like smaller, like the child of the parents. Okay, and then you can find something called P as well. So P is usually stands for paragraph. Okay, and everything begin with A is usually a website. Okay, it's a link. So if you go back to our soup, which means the source, okay, and say find A, for very likely that it will give you a lot of links. And okay, so if you find A, a lot of them are links. Okay. Okay, I'll go deeper in it, so I'll make sure you understand. But any other questions for now? Yep. It doesn't work on your computer.
Yeah, the
LXML does not work. Try XML without the L. And anyone else doesn't have LXML working? Does it work?
It's not working. I have to install it.
Oh, you have to install it. Okay, sorry about it. So, okay, who else doesn't have the package working? Everyone got the request working? Okay, if your beautiful soup is not working, then you can try this. PIP install BS4. Or if that doesn't work, you can try PIP3 install BS4. Okay, anyone need help? it working? Not working. Okay, anyone else doesn't have LXML working? Okay, so I assume everyone has this working. Anyone need help? Please let me know.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay, just ignore this one. Okay. Because that one is okay. Okay, let's try to do one exercise on this website. Maybe just a very simple one. Try to get. Okay, what should I ask you to get? Try to get. Okay, try to get this paragraph. Okay. Try to see if you can find this paragraph. So it's P something, and it's bound by this class. Okay. If you go back to the website, it's price runner laptop page equals 4. Okay. Okay, maybe just go price runner and then search for laptops on Google. Yeah, just search price runner laptops on Google and check the first link. And try to find the paragraph. There you go. Okay. Okay, if you need some tips, remember clicking right click, inspect, and you arrive this page. And all you need to find is a common attribute that can help you find the data you want.
Suficiente. Vamos a decir,
Okay, so you have two ways of finding the attribute. Careful. Okay, you have two ways of finding the attribute. Okay, one way is you can find from the bottom. Okay, you click on the attribute you want to find and find P. Okay, or alternatively, you can find from the top. Okay, you can just find from body and then one step ahead and eventually find P. It depends case by case. Sometimes it's easier to find from the top, or sometimes there's a very unique key that helps you find P. Okay. Do you guys want to try one more? Okay. Let's say we want to try. Let's see if it's doable. Okay, let's say I want to extract everything underneath, like about, price, runner, category, merchant dashboard, etc. How can we do it? Can you like okay, do you guys need more time? Okay, I'll talk about it. So our goal is to find all the words underneath. Okay, so if you click on it, inspect. Okay, it points you to like a class, and then you have the stuff you wanna extract. Okay, but then we have to go a little bit up a level, and then find a block that contains all of them. So I choose a footer. So first thing is to find footer and call it footer. Okay. Then I have a smaller subset of the code. Okay, and out of this I have to find a common attribute that can help me to locate it. Okay, so if you look at it again, okay, you can see this is structured as block. Okay, and the common element is A right here. Okay, so in footer, which is the newly discovered HTML, you can first find A, okay, but then it only gives you the first item, which is about price runner. Okay, if you find A, it shows you one item. But now I'll teach you something new, which is find all. Okay. So if you put find all, it finds everything that's begin with A. Okay. But you see that this is in a list. And if you directly extract the text out of it, it gives you an error. So you have to treat it as a list. And say like for I in this list, extract the text out of it. Okay, now you can get all the text nicely. And if you want to put it into like a list, l.append. Okay, now it gives you a clean format. Okay. Any questions? Okay. Yeah.
So the first one is find
Yes.
all,
Yes. Okay, if you define all footer. Okay. And remember, if you use find all, because you find everything, so it's not an object, but it is a list. Okay, just to bear in mind, this is a list. Okay, it's just a result set. And although it has only one item, it is still a list. So you have to get the first item out of it to make it back to an object. So after you select one of the item in the list, then you can start to operate it and find the rest of the things. Okay. Yeah. So just to bear in mind the difference between a find and find all. Find gives you one item. Find all gives you a list of items. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So okay, just a very simple exercise. Go to Wikipedia and find all the list, all the URL that appears in this content page. I want to find this URL, href. Okay, that's my target audience, HREF. Okay, do you guys need more time? Or soup dot. Okay, have you guys finished? Not yet, okay. Should I go for it? Or do you guys want to solve it yourself? Okay, so okay, every web scraping starts similarly, just the URL, request, and put it into Beautiful Soup. Okay. Okay, so the top three, it's standardized. Every time you have to do the same. And then remember, I mentioned usually all the links are hiding in like an A. Okay, that's based on experience. So if you do soup.find all A, you get all the links. Okay. So if you go to this, I forgot to tell you guys. If you want to extract this item, href, you have to do this. Okay. And if you loop through everything, okay, but for some item that href is not available. For example, the first one, okay, it gives you an error. Have you guys learned about try catch before? Okay, so try catch is something, if you're expecting an error, grab something and try. Okay, it means you're asking the computer to try it. Okay, but if it throws you an error, the exception will be thrown to here. So the structure is, I'm asking the computer to try this line, which is to find the href. But if this throws an error, I just print error. But okay, if there's an error, the loop keep going, so it won't break. Okay, so if you run it and then find what's contained in L, I grab every single URL. Okay. So that's the way to do it. Any questions? Okay, I would say web scraping is like advanced level stuff, but this is very super practical. Okay. So sometimes I hire like junior or data scientist. One skills I for sure I will ask is, have you ever done web scraping? Because that's essential in collecting huge amount of data. Okay, and okay, so that's it for web scraping, and then we'll move on to natural language processing. Okay, do you guys need a break, or is it fine? Okay, all right. So 5-10 minutes break. Okay. Sorry. Okay.
係，所以我覺得咁頭先嗰個你所謂嘅 search 如果佢睇到即係大精細，即係好似嗰個飛機嗰啲學習啦，即係搭飛機啦，即係香港日本啦。如果我喺即係等日本咁我打一個香港去日本。咁佢會 show 咗一啲 price history，咁我後邊咁樣可以碌晒香港嘅或者香港台灣咁樣。
我直情寫過佢咁嘅嘢出嚟。就唔可以用呢個方法，因為咧其實而家個方法咧，
即係根本有個 database 喺裏邊嘅係已經係咯，但係呢個係 base on 嗰個人嘅，即係你碌翻呢啲城市咁，但係即係點樣去？
因為而家嘅方法咧，我直接將佢舊嘅 download 咗落嚟。
係啊，
所以佢唔係 interactive，即係佢個網站有時係彈啲嘢出嚟嘅，係 base on 你撳啲乜嘅。
係啊。
咁咧，所以嗰個網站咧有第二個方法去 webscraping，就係叫 Selenium，就係咧佢直接開咗個 browser 扮係一個人，咁去撳掣。咁你咧直情要話埋俾佢聽，我要撳邊粒掣。撳完之後咧，佢又入咗去譬如係香港飛日本，跟住你先開始碌佢啲
假時間啦，
係啦，
咁咪可以。哦。係啊。咁但係其實咁樣係咪即係係咪即係而家有好多球嘅 hotel 係咪類似用呢類嘅嘢？
以我所知係咯，譬如你打
咩 hotel.com，
咩 hotel.com， 我有時嗰啲揾機票啲 website 咧，同埋一次去打，係唔知10個 browser 出嚟，跟住就喺度用，係類似用啲咁嘅技術。因為嗰啲 website 唔會特登 send 啲資料俾你，
除非你同佢有 deal 啦，即係你即係譬如你係個 agent，咁你撳個掣咁樣，你可能收 commission 都用俾你。但係如果你係純粹係 for your own purpose 嘅，
係啊，要咁樣。你一係就人手做到咁，一係咧你就叫部機咁。
哦。
嗰個你講嗰樣嘢 Selenium 係。